Welcome to the Acting Roundtable for the 24-25 school year here at UP Theater. With me, we have...
I'm Joshua Mager, and I will be talking about Too Much Light Makes the Baby Go Blind.
And I'm Ricardo Guevara. I'll be talking about The Effect.
I am Aria Hroma, and I will also be talking about The Effect.
I am Mollie Goldberg, and I will be talking about You Can See All the Stars.
For me, I guess it's pretty, utilitarian. I read the script, and then I read it again and again and again. And I try to get as memorized as possible before even coming to the first show or first rehearsal process. Because to me, that helps me just know if I can get the bedrock down, the fundamentals, I can jump into the work and actually get going.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think for me, one of the things that's been the most helpful for the start of a process is to see what my character says about myself and what other characters say about my character. And the third thing is what my character actually does, the actions of the character. And I think it helps really frame it within the story, and it kind of helps kind of launch from there.
Yeah, I also read the script once, twice, maybe 3 times. And then something that I like to do is make a playlist. Music is something that's very important to me and really helps me like get in the right mindset and kind of figure things out. So I kind of like to start building the playlist the second that I know what I'm doing, and then it's a living thing, so it can change, and like I'll add and take away songs as I go, and then by the time opening night rolls around, I've got just this character playlist that helps me get into character.
Well, that's really interesting. We were in The Effect together, and I don't remember. I don't remember you talking about your playlist. What were the songs that were in it?
Oh, there was a lot of Taylor, just because I like her. A song called "My Ego Dies at the End" by Jensen McCrae. "Your Needs, My Needs" by Noah Kahan. "Call Your Mom" by Noah Kahan. A lot of Noah Kahan as well.
Yeah.
Those were. It was a really good playlist in my opinion. It helped me at that opening night when I first listened to it. I was like, okay, yes, this is what I needed.
I love that. What about you, Mollie? What did you do to start the process as an actor?
Like, I started the process by also reading the script about 2 or 3 times. Yeah. And when I first got casted as Anna Martin in You Can See All the Stars, my first rehearsal was a meeting with the other cast members and also with Barbie, the director. Yeah. And also with us was the playwright Ian Lewis. He also talks about what was going on in the play and things we were wondering about.
So you found that really helpful to have the playwright and the director to be able to talk to?
Yes.
Yeah. I can start for this one. In The Effect, I was very happily surprised and also very grateful with how quickly the cast clicked together, because in a show that only had 4 actors and they were on stage for the majority of the runtime, and for Leia and I, we never left the stage, to be able to have that kind of trust and openness for vulnerability so early on in the process, it made it possible to explore and to take risks and to fail. And failing was a really good thing in that process, because there were so many hard things and so many difficult subject matters, and so being able to just put all of ourselves into that and not worry about what each other might think or judging each other, it was a really beautiful surprise.
Yeah, I'm gonna retweet all of that because that was definitely a super big thing for The Effect, was just having that that sense of community in the rehearsal space with everyone who was there, and then also I think I kind of surprised myself a little bit with The Effect, because that was nothing like I'd ever done before in context of the show and the character, and it really, I had always thought about acting, but that was the first time I really put it into true practice into this one character. And so I think it is a very pivotal show in who I am as an actor, and will continue to be kind of a really good turning point for me.
That's beautiful.
I can go.
Yeah.
So I think like something that really surprised me during the process of You Can See All the Stars is my relationships with the other like actors like in the play, and particularly like I play like Anna Martin, and like my roommate is Marcy, who is played by Anna Dang. Shout out to her.
Yes.
And like something that surprised me was like it ended up like creating this like little like friendship between like me and Anna.
Yeah.
Like so like there's like this one part of like the play where like my roommate is like in her room like eating cereal. So like with like me and Anna in the room, like we were like imagining like, oh, like she's like eating like Fruit Loops and like maybe like wearing them like on like her fingers like rings.
Yeah.
So like that was like our little like inside joke. And eventually like Anna did give me like a bracelet made out of Fruit Loops, or like a necklace.
I love that.
Yeah, Too Much Light. I mean, 30 plays in 60 minutes.
Yeah.
The premise of the whole thing was kind of ridiculous. And the fact that we were able to pull it off some of the nights, that was amazing to me. And then just it was a large cast, and we were all doing different things. We weren't really, we were working together, but when I'm in these plays and you're in these plays, and like,
Yeah.
we're not really working together, but nobody butted heads that I could tell. Everyone was real cool with one another. Everyone was real supportive, and like, oh, is this play next? All right, let's quickly wrap it up and set up for the next one. And no one really, I didn't feel any friction in that show, and I thought that was amazing for a show like that.
100%.
Hey Josh, like you mentioned, like there were no like butting heads, right?
Yeah.
Except wasn't there like one part of the play where like it was the monologue and like your like heads are literally like together? Like what is up with that?
I don't think we literally but I think we might have gotten close.
There we did. Very close contact.
And there were, admittedly, a few times when I would run up to grab one number, and Samuel would run up to grab a number, and we'd maybe butt chests, but...
Or like,
it was a very healthy kind of...
You'd go to grab a number, but somebody else heard another number,
Right.
and so you're
Grabbed
already
it
grabbing
first.
numbers.
Exactly, yeah.
And then at that point, it's just about whoever's loudest, and
Yeah.
Exactly.
so.
Yeah, or Aria couldn't reach the number, so one of the other people had to go grab it.
For Too Much Light, we were all playing kind of caricatures of ourselves.
Yeah.
So it was really unique to come up on stage and say, I'm Josh Mager, because I've never done that before. And as part of that, it was essential that I be genuine in a way that was never in any other character I've performed. I mean, the character is Josh Mager, that's me, right?
Yeah.
It's a weird balance, and of course I'm saying things I would never say, especially in, say, like the political debate one.
Yeah.
But it was essential to still be me in all of my actions, which I think, and everybody did that.
Yeah.
Everybody in the show was still themselves playing characters of themselves. But that made the show, I think. Because if we put on, like, I'm Steve now, it wouldn't have worked as well.
Exactly. Yeah, it requires that vulnerability of being
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah.
It's interesting. I have a similar experience in that kind of like it was essential in the effect for me playing Tristan to be vulnerable and to be able to be playing a range of emotions that was truthful, you know? And it was really hard because a lot of the play is very intense in a lot of negative emotions, but being able to balance that with hope, you know, and with happiness and with laughter and humor, even in some of those darkest moments, because that's what the character is, and I can't play it as a one-dimensional, okay, now he's sad, now he's happy, now he's whatever. It's like it has to be in the happiness there's sadness, and in the sadness there's happiness, and so that was really essential, and it was with the directing craft of Andy that we were able to kind of like really chisel at that sculpture, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I had very similar experience with Lorna and the effect. But another like challenge that I had was there were her character suffers from depression, and I have had depression for a little bit now, and it was a interesting way of like. It added an extra challenge of how I separate myself from that character, but also it was like weirdly like know, like, well, you know, people say like theater's therapeutic, not therapy.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was, in a way, therapeutic to have like this reflection at the end of rehearsal every night, because I was keeping that journal, and in my journal I would go back and like be like, hey, these are the things that she says, these are the things that I say about this.
Mm-hmm.
This is like, I have not thought this about myself in a while, and I don't. And so it was just a very, and it was hard, but it gave me a lot of like, it helped me grow personally as
Yeah.
well. And I
Yeah.
think that was a interesting little challenge.
Of course.
Like, I also like sense like a lot of vulnerability like during like my process, and You Can See All the Stars.
Yeah.
And because like my character like talks about like her experience of like what happened at like the college party that she went to, and like the incident that happened, and like yeah, it is like really difficult to be like talking about all of this, like even like to like an audience.
Yeah.
So like I really like had to like empathize like for that.
The moment that this season got announced last year, I was kind of looking at all the plays, and the only one that I really knew going in was, I knew Too Much Light,
Mm-hmm.
and then I knew Pride and Prejudice, but it was a devised version, so I was like,
Of course.
I'm not sure how that's gonna look, and I know for me personally, that's just not my favorite thing to do. But the effect really stood out to me, and then when I read the script for the first time, I had this moment of like, I finished reading it and I just like closed my computer, and I just knew, I was like, if I don't work on this show, I don't, like, I need to.
Yeah.
Like, this is something that I just feel like I need in my life.
Mm.
And it just stuck with me, and it kind of haunted me throughout the summer, and I was thinking about it all throughout fall semester. And finally, when auditions rolled around, I was like freaking out about it. I was so nervous.
Yeah.
But obviously it ended up
Of course.
being amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I have like, so like I was also like when the season was first announced, I also like initially thought about doing like my capstone on Pride and Prejudice,
Mhm.
but again like it's a devised like play, so I didn't know like where that was going. But then like I read the play for You Can See All the Stars, and I thought like this is like an issue that's like still happening like on college campuses, and like I felt I really like needed to like help those who are affected like have like their own voice like on this.
Yeah.
When the season was selected and the general public got to see what plays they were going to audition for, I read through the first paragraph of the script of Too Much Light. Basically explains what it is.
Yeah.
And at that moment I was hooked. I was like, this isn't a play I've ever been in before.
Yeah.
This isn't a beginning, middle, and end. This is amazing. And what we think we can do this,
Yeah.
you know? As soon as I read what it was, I was like, I remember saying I had a class with Professor Leslie Cross.
Yes.
Dr. Cross.
Yeah, all last
Love her.
spring, and that's when I got to read the play. I was like, hey, I'm doing this, you know?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
next semester, I'm going to do it no matter what.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just turned out to be amazing. And then reading through the plays, you're like, oh my god, these are hilarious.
It's insane. Yeah.
And we did all the funny ones.
Exactly. You know,
Josh.
no, you.
So like because of like the kind of like style that Too Much Light is in,
Yeah.
like now I just like have to ask, like, what was the audition process for you, like auditioning for Too Much Light? Like, how did that go?
Can someone back me up here? What was the audition process?
I don't even
I was gonna
remember.
say-
Because like I know like one of the
doing,
plays where like I think it was like
Yeah.
Amber's was like taking out all like these chairs, like saying like
Right.
act one, act two, like
yeah.
like did you like pull out it? Did you have to like pull out a chair at the audition?
No,
we
it's
do group
interesting.
work?
We
No.
played, we
Or, like,
played
were you even
improv
speaking?
games
Yes.
as a callback. Because I think the audition itself
Yes.
was just the monologues, typical audition. But then the callback, we played a lot of
yes
improv games.
And then collective, collaborative work. It was very hard. I will say.
So yeah,
that
from
callback.
the beginning, it was about collaboration and
Yeah.
about reaching your, the border between comfortability and uncomfortable,
Yeah.
And
just
going on a
for
blind
it.
date.
And going on a blind date. yeah.
Josh actually said he would quit the show if he
Yeah.
didn't.
If he did, the
That
second
was
interview where it's
my
mentioned.
number one. There's like 110 plays in that show, and that was my number one show.
And it ended up working out.
Very well.
For me, I think both in Too Much Light and in The Effect, I needed to do it because of the challenge, I needed to push myself, especially because at that point, at the beginning of my senior year, I really was getting ready for grad school auditions and wanted to be in the kind of best position for that. So I was like, I need to throw myself into whatever this next thing is, and to prepare myself for grad school, I need to do things I've never done in the acting world. And so that's why I was like, Too Much Light, with this, at least, so much presence that is needed for that show. And then in The Effect as well, in presence, but also just in the depth of the vulnerability that has to happen. And both of those things I felt like I had been able to grasp in other shows, but not really dive myself completely into. So I was like, senior year, I just have to do something.
I'm a big collaborator. I mean, you guys have all worked with me, so, tell me when I'm lying, but I really like working on things with people. I like being present in there. Like, if I've got my scene partner with me, I'm not doing my scene and they're not doing theirs. We're working on a scene together.
Yeah.
And I think part of what I do, too, to try to, make the work as best as possible is to be present at all moments, right? Is to focus, pay attention, listen to the needs communicated and subtle of everyone in the room.
Yeah, of course. I think I completely agree with you. I think the best actors are the ones that collaborate the most, and I think are open to just saying when they don't know something, and being like, hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? Asking the director and stuff like that. I think it's we keep mentioning it, but that kind of vulnerability, not only in the character, but also just as an actor, like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna need a bit of help with this. Can you do this to that? Is that kind of like open dialogue?
Yeah, I think that was something I really learned throughout all my years at UP, but specifically this year. I've always been very curious about things, and I want to know why we do this, or what is exactly how this goes. But I've just never had the courage to ask those questions, and I think The Effect was really the first, and in Too Much Light, were the first shows that I really was like, oh yeah, we can ask these, having Andy flat out say, you can challenge me if you think I'm wrong, was like, okay, I will.
Of course. Yeah. Mollie, what do you think?
Yeah, I would also say that I'm a collaborative person, and with that, I think communication is also a big part of my artistry when working with a group of people in the theater. During my process on You Can See All the Stars, I also found myself asking questions, or and there's even parts where I'm asking Barbie I am wondering about this, what does why is my character saying this?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
And that's been really helpful.
I've never had a good answer for this. I just the vain part of me loves the applause at the end of the show.
You're so real for that.
I really do. I don't know if you guys feel that rush when you hear the standing ovations, but but the much more sane part of me that I would put on camera.
The part that's gonna go in the video.
Well, I love acting because I love embodying. I love putting on a show for people, and I love making them think about things they wouldn't think about otherwise, making them feel things they wouldn't feel otherwise. Too Much Light was a laugh riot, but it had its moments of making you think about things.
Yeah.
And theater in and of itself has this ability to elevate you spiritually, emotionally, and just happiness levels. Makes you forget about your issues for a night or think about issues that you haven't thought about before. And I love the process. I love everything about it.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to put it. I think very similarly, I think theater and film are really the ultimate art forms in that they combine all the other art forms to make one cohesive narrative or piece. And so I think it's just being able to be a part of that and tell a story. Like, it's something I've come to realize is what I need to do for the rest of my life, because there's no greater joy than being able to tell a story and make an audience full of people feel something or learn something or have to think about something. It's like, it really makes me feel like what I'm doing is meaningful to be a part of that.
I would also say that like I love acting because like, well, kind of also like because of the applause, but also like the people that are doing the applause, like maybe like I'm like hoping that like they are moved by what I do. Like I am like hoping like to inflict like change on them, and like maybe they will be inspired to like change the world.
Yeah.
Ricardo took my answer. Anyways,
another retweet.
Retweets.
I love telling stories, and I'm gonna pivot a little bit because we read this part of this book by Anne Bogart in directing, and this was after The Effect, but it still like made me reflect on how I view my job as an actor. And it's just the viewing theater and performance as storytelling and as telling these memories. And then she also talks about how there's like a violence to it as well. And I can't even like form the words because it just expanded so many thoughts. And I think that's the thing, is it just is something that makes me think, and I never have all of the answers, and I hate but love that.
Yeah.
Because I hate not knowing, but I love the exploring of it.
Of course. Oh, that's a beautiful way to put it.
That's what acting is to me. Is it's an exploration. It's never an end. It's always a process.
Yes.
I think that I love that about acting as well.
It really is about the journey.
Yeah. Can I ask? I mean, feel free to chime in for like, how would you view that exploring process in the different shows that you were in? So like for you guys, Too Much Light versus The Effect, and like Mollie, You Can See All the Stars versus what you're doing in Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah.
Like, is there differences, or do you find the exploring to be similar? Or
For Too Much Light, it was a different experience than The Effect, right? Because with The Effect, I knew more about the character every night, through opening, even now, right? I learned something new. And that happened less with Too Much Light because the characters weren't as deep. But I did learn more about the show itself every night. How things work together, what order it, and how the audience was a character in that show too.
Yeah.
And that's not a show that the audience isn't a character we rehearsed with, but we got to know them so much more over the course of the show that we started working with them during the scenes and during the plays and all that.
Yeah.
Like I would also say that like I am like on a similar boat as Josh. Like when I like compare like my experience between like You Can See All the Stars and Pride and Prejudice, like I think that like in You Can See All the Stars, like I definitely did a lot more character work, and like it was more intensive and like learning about like my relationship with the other characters. But for like Pride and Prejudice, because like it's a device piece, like it was like less about like our like individual characters and like more about the ensemble as a whole. And like we like learned about like, the ballroom dancing and like how to like tell the story like as a community. And like we weren't like given our like specific roles until like a lot like much later in the process, like after like spring break.
I think there are many points in The Effect that were really challenging, and I'm actually very grateful for those, because it was those really tough moments where I doubted myself and I thought maybe I was not the right person for this, or maybe I shouldn't have auditioned for this, that really pushed me, you know, because especially this being something that I want to pursue for the rest of my life, it's like I need moments like that. I need to feel that level of discomfort so then I can be better, you know, because if I want to just do a career of like the easiest roles and the most simplest things, it's like I'm not going to grow at all, and it's going to be really boring to watch for an audience. But it's that level of discomfort that is like I need it. I really do.
I also like sense like discomfort like during the process, because like I myself like have not experienced like what my character is going through like in the play. So like that's like also like been a challenge, but like. And like I also found myself asking like, am I the right person like for this role?
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, like that's like also like been the like discomfort. But I also know like as an actor, like I do like need to like feel things that are like out of my comfort zone. Like I need to challenge myself.
Yeah.
A couple things that were really challenging for me. The day that I got the role offer email, I saw role offer for the effect, and I was like, oh, great. And then I saw it was for Dr. James, and I was like, okay, yeah. Reread the play, and my first thought was, Andy's crazy, I can't do this. I can't play this role.
Yeah.
Like, I knew that this show was what I wanted, and I knew it was gonna be a challenge, but it was just that very first night of just, there's no way that I'm gonna be able to pull this off.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of lingered with me for a while. And then I had really good talk with Andy at the start of the rehearsal process, and I was like, okay, maybe I can do this. I just gotta, like, I can. And I struggled a little bit with a lot with the memorizing for this show. And that's always been something that's been a little bit of a struggle for me. So that was always a fun challenge to navigate, but I think part of it was because of the pressure that I felt for this role, that I was like, if I don't get it perfect, it's not going to be worth it. And by the time the show rolled around and we were in like tech and dress, I just kind of like unlocked something of like, no, I'm doing fine. I don't need to stress out about this as much as I am. This is working really well for me, and I ultimately ended up being very proud of the work that I did.
For me, it doesn't matter what show I'm in or how long we've rehearsed. Opening night will always be the moment where I want to turn back. I want to walk away. I want to just walk out the doors backstage and not tell anyone. And that might be just something with me, but I feel great, you know, throughout the whole rehearsal process. I feel great during auditions. I'm like, this is going to be a great show. But the moment I'm backstage and I can hear the audience filing in, I'm like, I am not funny. I suddenly, you know, it's just, they won't laugh, and you will try, you know, but that didn't happen. People laugh a lot. I think part of that is during rehearsal you get you do it, and you do it for people who've seen it a million times, so they stop laughing, right? And you do it, and to you it's just, I perform it like this, and I know my characters, and I say the lines, but the audience hasn't ever heard that before, and sometimes it's easy to forget that.
Yeah.
For the audience, everything is new, so they feel all the emotional gut wrenches that your director doesn't laugh at or cry at anymore, you know?
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, opening night, I will always think about turning back.
Just that I can do it, and I'm actually a good actor. No, just not doubting myself as much as I have in the past. And like I just said, this has been like, this year has been some of the most growth I've felt I've done with myself. And it's just being secure and feeling proud in the work that you do can be a lot and can help a lot.
I think the biggest lesson that I learned was to keep pushing myself to be uncomfortable, and I think I've seen that when I let myself be comfortable for too long, I end up not working as hard.
Yeah.
And so, kind of like I mentioned earlier, I think just keep doing things that are more difficult and things that I don't believe I can do, because I end up doing it. Kind of like what you said, you end up being able to do it. It's just you need to be able to pass that barrier.
The biggest lesson I've learned is that once I understand the character, the responsibility is not really on me to act, it's on my scene partner. Because if you're focusing in on what they're doing, every little bit of how they say their line informs you and lets you know exactly how you should respond.
Yeah.
And for a long time in acting, I've thought, this line has importance, so I will say it like this.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't lead to as meaningful a product as if you're like, oh wait, you said what to me? Say it like this, And
Yeah.
That was a difficult lesson to learn, and it's a difficult lesson to execute.
Yeah.
But I think it's the most important thing I've learned.
One thing that's important that I really learned in my acting journey is I learned that I really gotta push myself. I am my own actor, because I know that I know that I have been facing rejections, whether it be grad school applications or not being casted in the shows that I want, and I also realized that life is also going to be like that in the when I reach the professional world. I might not get casted into the projects that I desire, and I just have to keep going. That does not determine my worth as an actor. So I will continue to be present and just keep pushing myself out there.
I record my lines. I record any scene I'm in, my lines and my scene partner on this little voice recorder, and I listen to it in the car on the way to rehearsal. And that always it helps me memorize my lines,
Yeah.
and two, it just helps me get into the space of I'm doing work.
You've mentioned it before, and I want to
Yeah.
steal that from you.
You should. It's been very helpful for me.
For me, I would say eating a good meal, drinking a lot of water, and getting a good enough amount of sleep.
Yeah.
That's what I need.
I already mentioned the playlist is a big one for me.
Yeah.
But then also post-rehearsal, doing something that really just makes me happy and kind of helps me unwind. During the effect, I would play Animal Crossing a lot when I got home. So just something like that I can do for an hour or two before bed.
Yeah.
Okay, so one ritual that I do before the rehearsals is that we always do these it's called work boundaries, and there's
Yeah.
these little movements rituals. So this is the one that I did when I was in a show called Peter and the Starcatcher a while back.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And that helps me to get locked into the work, and this is
Yeah.
what I'm doing when I'm in the space. I will be moving to LA.
Oh.
Yeah, specifically, I got accepted into this grad school. It's called New York Film Academy, but it's not in New York. It's the acting department is in LA, in Hollywood. So
Oh my
I
God.
will get to be learning about how to bring my acting onto a camera for the film.
Of course.
Which I'm not entirely giving up on the stage acting, which
Yeah.
they still have theaters in LA, and even a black box theater the one in the Blair.
That is super exciting. Congratulations.
I will be moving to Orlando, Florida, and doing the Disney College program, starting in August to about February, and then after that, hoping to continue my journey in grad school and do work in film and just
Yeah.
keep going from there.
I love it. For me, I will be going to the University of Florida in Gainesville, Florida. It's very nearby. To pursue a Master's of Fine Arts in Acting there. It's a 3-year program, so graduating 2028. I'm very, very excited for what's to come.
I'm staying here.
Yes!
I
You got more school.
I do. I'm basically taking a gap semester or a 5th year, however you want to think about it. So this fall and next spring, I'll be auditioning for more UP theater shows.
Let's go! This was the acting roundtable for the 24 to 25 school year here at UP Theater. Thank you so much for joining us on our little conversation. Hopefully it was insightful. Have a good rest of your day.